There we go. All right. Hey.
Hi.
Hey. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah.
It's so hot here in Vancouver.
I
It's
know.
like we're just not used to this.
It's like
It's
the tropics,
crazy.
so we're kind of dying, but we're
making
enjoying
it work.
the sun. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have friends there, and I remember messaging them. I'm like, I hope you guys, because you guys, people don't realize in BC they don't have air conditioners, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the last few summers it's been really hot, so places are kind of starting to get aircon, but like it's not good aircon.
No.
It's like just like a machine in the corner, like, you know.
Yeah, crazy. Well, thank you guys for hanging out and for doing this. Basically, long story short, my channel is all about promoting Canadian artists, music. I worked in promotions for a few radio stations, so listening to a lot of CanCon over the years, and just reminding people how many talented artists there are out there, which is why I'm doing this series on TikTok. So thank you.
Sweet. Well, thanks for
we're happy
inviting
to
us
be a part
on.
of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, of course, we'll chat about your latest single, your latest album, but also just about your career and, just so people can learn more about you guys. It's very informal. It's not like just ask question, answer, just go with the flow, basically.
Sweet. Totally.
So I guess I want to start from the beginning. So I believe you guys, I don't know, would you say your love of music started when you were kids, or was it when you saw Elton John? I think that was your first concert at 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, so both of our parents are like really musical. Our dad came to Canada in an Irish show band in the 70s, and always told us stories about like the touring band life, and was just always playing music around the house. So I think it all kind of just from day one, it was kind of always around us, and we just gravitated towards it. But the Elton John concert was definitely a big, like, I was seeing, somebody on a stage for the first time, like, of that size. We were like, whoa, this is so cool.
Yeah, and I love, like, you guys, like, you seemed like you were hustling. I mean, I believe you were busking in Granville Market. Is that what you're doing?
At there's a market in Vancouver called Granville Island Market, and it's kind of like an artsy district, so they support a lot of local acts by letting them busk in the market and around. And yeah, like, honestly, it was a very like wholesome, cute place to start.
Yeah, good experience too, because it kind of like gets rid of any fear you would have, because you're just like performing in a place where people are not expecting to be entertained by you, so it kind of
was
like
very scary.
Yeah, it was, but it's good to like get that fear out of the way, because you can't afford to have that kind of fear when you're performing.
Absolutely. And I mean, seems like you guys are pretty fearless. I mean, you convinced your parents to take you to Nashville a few times. Can you just tell me about Nashville?
Yeah. So
That's like kind of where we learned to songwrite, actually.
Yeah.
So like basically we go to these songwriting seminars, and they give us like lessons. Like they have that in Nashville, and it was it was just great for our songwriting development in general. Like, and it really inspired us at a young age.
Absolutely, yeah. We were really like on the Taylor Swift crusade, because we love Taylor. We still do, but like that was like her path. She was like Nashville songwriter, and so that's kind of why we wanted to go there. We were like, we want to be like Taylor.
Yeah. And then you came back to BC. You're born and raised in Vancouver, right?
Yeah. We're actually at White Rock, which is like about 40 minutes outside of Vancouver. It's like a little beach town.
Okay, good to know. And then I guess if we want to fast forward, I think it was 2018 when you came out with your first album, your self-titled album.
Yes. Which is
Yeah.
great.
Okay.
Yes.
Beyond, so it's self-titled Beyond. One song actually I just want to talk about, and it's like actually the first song, and it's one of the first lyrics. It's called "All I Need." And what really stuck out to me was a lyric that said, "And all I need is a shirt with sleeves to be taken seriously." I'm wondering, is that kind of a nod to like maybe you being female artist and maybe not getting be taken seriously because you're in this male dominated space, or what was that? Or am I just looking too much into that?
No, I don't think so at all.
I'm trying to like, I wrote that, it feels like so long ago now. I'm trying to like bring myself back to that time of when I wrote that. I think,
Well, I think part of it, wasn't it because like we went to Catholic school,
Yeah,
and
I
like
think-
one big thing was like if you didn't have a shirt with sleeves, like you get in trouble. Like
Yeah.
if you wore like a tank top.
I think it was
or
like I was
spaghetti straps.
at the time I was just like thought that was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of me just being like questioning all these things about society and like what people deem as like acceptable, and just the fact that like as a girl at the time we were still like in high school, so it was like as a girl you couldn't wear a tank top, but then all the guys wore tank tops, and I'm like, we all have arms, and why are my arms different than their arms?
The football team would run around with no shirts on, with just like letters painted on them.
And I was
that
like,
was fine. Everybody thought that was funny, but like,
and I just was like,
we get
so
sent to
confused.
the office in a tank top. So.
Yeah, so I think that's where that came from. But then now, as I've gotten older and have experienced more of like the industry, and like also just trying to like make a name for myself like as a woman, I feel like I'd probably see it a little bit more like how you read it in the song as well. Like, but at the time it was very much like about that experience.
Yeah, I'm wondering because people don't realize you guys are both very young. You're 22, turning 23, or 23. I don't know.
25. Yeah.
25. Oh, I'm sorry. What? I think you're born in 90. You're 90. Wait, born in 98. Okay, my math is off. I'm terrible.
You're all good.
25. Still, of course, very young. Do you find, again, like throughout your career so far, has it been challenging? People taking you seriously? Or one thing I also noticed in your music video for Goldfish, you got ID'd at Petland, or wanted your ID?
Yeah, that was crazy. I have never felt more youthful. I was like, what? That was very strange. Yeah, I mean, yeah, she believed us. We said with conviction. I think we were just so like
taken
flabbergasted when she said that. Like that we convinced her. But we were like, we are 20. Like we were 24 when we were filming that. We were like, we are 24 years old, and she was like, she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It was like really funny. That was pretty funny. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, I feel like maybe I didn't notice it as much as when I was younger, but I feel like as I'm getting a bit older, I'm noticing more, like, maybe not being taken as seriously sometimes, and just I'm trying to like adjust the way like I present myself in a room to try and like be taken more seriously. But then I'm also like, why should I have to do that? You know, why can't? It's just if you're young looking and you're female, I feel like people are just like I don't know. Yeah, there's just like a certain like attitude. It's like it's hard to put a finger on, but you know, I'm sure a lot of people have experienced a similar feeling.
No, absolutely. And I think at the end of the day, you'll prove yourself through your music, right? So,
absolutely, yeah.
If we move on from the first album to the next, I don't know if you want to call it, maybe not an album, or it's an LP, EP. Everyone's a Critic.
Yeah.
I really like that one, especially there's one song again I want to highlight, which is Modern Medication. And just hearing that title, it's like, okay, I think I know where this is going. And just a couple lyrics where it's like, dancing in the doomed night, living for the blue light. I love that lyric because referencing, of course, into the blue light that we see through our phones and just how we're addicted to it. So can you just talk about, your experience with social media? Because I feel like especially, forget just being either like you're Gen Z, I guess. So growing up with social media, and then on top of that, being in this industry, like how has that shifted or shaped your life?
Well, it's interesting because I feel like when we first started, like it was before TikTok, and I think before like social media really took hold of everybody, like
in the way
even
it is now.
When we wrote Modern Medication, like I feel like things have just changed so much even since then. Like we thought we were experiencing heavy amounts of blue light then, but then the pandemic happened, and like now it's bizarre. Sometimes I'll look at my phone and it'll give me my report for how many hours I've spent it, and it's like 5 hours or 4 hours, and it's mind-blowing like how it can become so addicting, and like you don't even realize it's such a slippery slope. But yeah, I feel like I don't know, it is quite difficult to balance like screen time and just like working on art these days, because it's the expectation to constantly be putting out content is just so high. So it's really like it is insane actually. Yeah, because then I find like I spend most of my time, like most of my creative energy, thinking about what I'm gonna put on TikTok, or what I'm gonna make how I'm gonna make a reel that's gonna like promote the song, and then I'm like not writing more songs because it's like it's just so much is eaten up by that. There's like that negative side of it, but then I think a positive side would be that it is a great platform to get your music heard at the same time. So it's like trying to find that balance, but these apps are all designed to be so addictive that like the more time you spend on them, the more like I literally will like be daydreaming and suddenly like
snap back to reality and like I'm on TikTok just scrolling. Like I didn't even consciously go there. It's like my thumbs just go to it because it's that addicting. So especially like because we are always having to put content out, I'm on the app quite frequently, and then it has turned into like a bit of a personal addiction to the app. But then there's that conflicting idea of like I can't stop, because if I do, then
like, how am I gonna get ahead?
My music isn't gonna get heard. But then I also am like, how do I balance this so that it's not eating up my own like personal life too? So that's kind of my experience.
It's not easy, right? Even for me, I'm 35, and there's people older than me that are also like addicted to it. And again, on one end, it's like I'm not an artist, but like I do this for fun, but like still, I have to do my research, so I'm on social media a lot. So I get the challenge. I will say I love, it's all about. I think what's important about content is like doing a little series. I love your thing where you're like, twin, harmonize with me. Amazing. Love it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's really good. Moving on to the next, I guess, album, or yeah, I guess it's an album. Candid Constellations. That's the next one, I believe, after that. For me personally, well, I don't want to say it's a toss-up between that and the latest one, but this one I really like. Definitely a different sound, from the first album to this one. Definitely more upbeat, more dance. Definitely a bit of like disco, I feel like, inspiration. And I know you guys say you like ABBA, so that makes sense to me. Taste for It, great song. Hold Off, Dirty Dancing, which is your most streamed song. Did Josh work with that on Ramsey, or no? Did he work with that on you?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Josh Ramsey worked with it.
Okay. I'm assuming, did you meet Josh through your record label, 604?
Yeah, well, I think, we met him, like, we'd met him in passing before, but we had played, like, this Juno party that had happened when the Junos were in Vancouver, like, pre-pandemic, and Josh's wife had seen us playing, and then she was like, you should work with them, which I was, like, so honored.
She very honored us to him, so then he reached out to because we share the same manager, so he reached out to our manager and said, like, I'd like to set up a writing session with Fionn, and we were so excited
because we obviously loved Mariana's Trench. Like, we were right in that like age group, especially that like really loved them when they were like being played on the radio. Cross My Heart, All to Myself.
That era,
those eras of Mariana's Trench. Like, and he's just such a great songwriter. So it was exciting, and it was a great experience working with him. And I feel like we learned a lot because he's such a pro.
Absolutely. And then, of course, you have a song with him, which is called You and I, right?
Yeah.
So
that was such an honor, too, that he asked us to feature on that.
Awesome opportunity. And just, like, in general, it kind of felt like hitting, like, a bit of a milestone, especially in the Canadian music scene, because he's just, like, so well-known and so talented.
Yeah, I mean, besides him, of course, again, you're on the 604 record label, which, for people don't know, is run by Chad Kroeger from Nickelback. You also have... what's your name? Carly Rae Jepsen. I actually wore this. You probably can't see it. It's backwards, but
you were Call Me Maybe shirt. Love it.
It was like a little Easter egg thing. And then my favorite song off that album is Let Me Go. Just something about it. I just really like it. So
thank you so much.
Let's move on, of course, though, to the latest album, which dropped. Did it drop in May?
Dropped in June.
Yeah.
Okay, May. Yeah. So I Might Start Smoking, the latest album, seemed kind of like a return to the past for you guys from your previous sound, where maybe, at least it seems like maybe you felt like you were a bit pressured in the past to put out a certain sound. But can you just talk about this album, I Might Start Smoking, and what was the inspiration for it?
Yeah, well, I feel like we've like been lucky enough in our career to like never feel like any sort of intense direct pressure from anybody to be like really pop or to really like have a trendy sound or anything. But like I feel like a lot of the pressure we put on ourselves because we'd released a few albums and we were like, we want to tour and we want like our people to hear our music, and so and also just being on social media all the time, we were like, maybe we should try something that's like a little bit more pop, a little more accessible, which I don't regret doing and trying.
It was very fun. It was also during the pandemic, and like, I think the pandemic was just so difficult. Like, it would have been hard to open up and write like real like heart-wrenching folk songs. Like, we just weren't ready to like tell our stories at that time because we were just at home. We were just kind of like a little bit sad, so we just wrote these songs to kind of lift ourselves up.
Yeah, just
So
like
it was-
some pop stuff, you know. And we like pop music, but I think we just found that when we made that album, we were like, it doesn't really feel like us. And we both play instruments. Like she plays bass and I play guitar. And like when we go perform those songs live, like we wouldn't bring our instruments. And I was like, this just feels weird to me. Like, and I just, we just decided for this I Might Start Smoking record, we were like, we want it to be more authentically us. So we kind of wanted to like mix in like, having catchy pop melodies, but like playing our
organic,
instruments
like sound
and telling like our stories more honestly. And sometimes in a way that's difficult, which I feel like we were ready for at this point. Because that was the pandemic time was just so messed up. Like I didn't feel like I really wanted to delve into like certain things I was feeling yet. I was like, let's sing a song about dancing. Let's sing like a fun little breakup song, So yeah, that's kind of like where the sound kind of returned back to that everyone's a critic sort of vibe. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. And yeah, like you said, there is definitely a good balance of songs. Just a few notes. Goldfish, like I mentioned before, 18. I really enjoy it, but of course, the latest single that you're promoting is "Take Me Out." One thing I wanted to ask about that is the notion of 444, because first you see it pop up in the little SpongeBob clock, and then you see the 444 means you love me, right? That's like the lyric. What's your mean, or what's 444? What does it mean to you? Because I know it's like one of the angel numbers.
I don't know exactly because I know if you look them all up, like they all technically represent different things. But I think just like seeing any angel numbers, like 111, 222, or whatever, like it just makes you feel like if you're having a thought in the moment about something, and then you see angel numbers, you're like, does this mean?
Does this mean something? Like,
so if you're thinking about this guy that you have a huge crush on, you see 444, you're like, that must be a sign for the universe that
I think like
he loves me.
In the sense of the song, it was kind of just like trying to portray this idea of somebody who this person is constantly on my mind, or when I did, it's about a personal experience. So this person was always on my mind, and then I'd just be walking around thinking about them all the time. That I just would like be reading into everything that they did. I'm like, is the universe even in on this? Like, oh, I see 444 and I'm thinking about him. That must mean good things,
Like it's kind of silly, but it's like I like that line because it kind of like it just, I think a lot of people, especially people on TikTok that are always looking at like angel numbers and have those on their mind, like could probably relate. Yeah, like, oh, does he love me? But yeah, no, I would definitely be one of those people that looks around and like when I see angel numbers, I get like a little like flutter in my head. I'm like, ooh, like what does this mean? So yeah.
Listen, I'm not a very spiritual person, but there is a certain number, like I know it sounds crazy to say, but like I don't want to say 911. I'll say 911. I see that number a lot, or specifically in the time.
Yeah.
And I looked it up and like what it means, and it means different things for love and your life. So no, I think there's something to those numbers. Yeah, we're not crazy if we see them a lot, I think. So I actually almost maybe had a chance to meet you guys back in, was it June or July? It was for North by Northeast. You guys were here in Toronto, which was amazing. And the best part about North by Northeast was you guys were on the cover of Next Magazine. You're fucking superstars.
That was such a fun, like, as we had also just released the album, and so then flying over to Toronto and then like seeing that, and I just like, we knew that we were gonna get on the cover, but we didn't know that it would just be everywhere. And it was like very exciting, like that it was like the magazine for the festival, so like everybody got a copy of it.
Like it was in coffee shops. Like we were walking down the street, and there was just like a bunch of them like all over the road. We were just like, this is insane.
Yeah, it was very exciting. And we hadn't been to Toronto since like 2018 or something crazy, like too long, definitely. But I'll blame the pandemic. We would have been back sooner. But it was just cool after so long of like not being in Toronto to come back to Toronto and then that was like our welcome. And we felt very grateful for that.
Yeah, no, it's great. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see your performance. My work schedule was ridiculous, so I couldn't see anything. But besides North by Northeast, do you have any upcoming gigs like outside of BC?
Outside of BC, ooh, like actually, I think we're planning a tour. We're cooking something up over here.
Yeah.
So hopefully, like, I think we'd probably start with Canada. So we'll probably be outside of BC soon, but we're playing a festival on the island in British Columbia. The festival's called Rifflandia. Yeah, we're excited for
really
that.
excited for that.
Yeah, it's like it's like one of the bigger festivals in BC, and like we've just always wanted to play it. Now it's finally happening.
Yeah.
Where on the island?
In Victoria.
Okay, like sorry, like so. I love it. I've been there a few times. Where in Victoria exactly is it?
It's at some sort of, it's at a park or something. I'm actually not too familiar
We've
with
never actually
Victoria.
been to the festival.
Yeah,
So this is our first time.
We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me ask you, in terms of like inspirations, let's stick with the Canadian theme for now. Are there any specific artists that have inspired you guys?
Oh, I feel like definitely like Carly Rae Jepsen.
Yeah.
That's like an obvious one because she's on our label. But like, yeah, we love Carly. She's definitely inspiring.
Her
to
songs
us.
are amazing. Just like the general like positive energy from her music is just so.
And
great.
she's also such a hard worker. Like she's just constantly writing, and she's just pumping out album after album, and like they're all really good songs. Like when we went to see her live when she was in Vancouver. Not this time she came and played with Boy Genius, but she was here on her tour a few months ago as well. And it was just such a great concert because all the songs stand out. I love when an artist like writes song after song that like really stands out. Yeah.
Yeah, another one, Jessie Reyes. I love Jessie Reyes. Her lyrics are just so honest, and I find that very inspiring. And just like, I don't know, she could just like cut your heart out with her voice.
Yeah. Like
So what's the plan?
honesty.
Sorry. So what's the plan? Are you working on new singles for the rest of the year? A new album? What's the plan?
I think for now, singles. Yeah. We probably won't. Like, I'm thinking we probably won't put another one out until the new year. I think we're just gonna work on promoting our album, like doing a little tour, just focusing on that for sure.
Yeah,
for
just
now.
like planning promotions and planning shows would be like the number one thing at the moment.
Okay. Let me ask you. Besides, like, who's your inspiration? Which artist would you like to actually perform and tour with?
Ooh. I'm trying to think. Like
Canadian or any.
You could do any. It's fine.
I feel like mine is like the most obvious answer in the world, but probably like the dream would be a Taylor Swift.
that's like the absolute. That's every
that's the
every girl of
the
our
dream.
generation's dream. I'd say like Muna would be a great band to open for. Maybe Muna or Haim.
The Beaches.
yeah.
Canadian. The
They're
Beaches.
Canadian, yeah.
They are another inspiration of ours.
yeah.
A Canadian inspiration. They're very cool.
Yeah.
I think your only chance to see Taylor Swift is probably in Toronto this or next year.
I know. I'm so confused. Why didn't you come to
I
Vancouver?
know. We're pretty choked over here on the West Coast. Pretty
We're just
choked.
the center of the universe, Toronto. You know how it is. No?
I know, especially when it comes in Canada.
She's always come to Vancouver though. That's the confusing
I know,
part. We
it's-
went to see her like before in
for
Vancouver.
the Red Tour, but like this tour looks way better.
Yeah,
This one looks so
I
good.
I'm still holding out hope that she's gonna announce. I'm like maybe she just since she did Seattle, she's like I don't need to do Vancouver, but no, we want her.
Yeah.
We want her.
Maybe if she waits a year or something.
I'm really curious when it comes to the creative process, whether it's writing or performing. You being twins, it's I would say if you're a solo artist, okay, you can do your thing. But like with two people, do you ever find there's an issue with balancing or back and forth, like when it comes to making a song and everything?
Well, we usually actually write separate. Like, so usually like we'll work up our own songs and bring them to each other, and then like kind of sift through them and like see which ones we both like the most. We do co-write sometimes, but when we co-write, we have like somebody else, like obviously we have somebody else in the room, and they act kind of like as a referee, because like we'll fight over like BPM. We'll fight over 2 BPM.
We'll fight over everything, but like if somebody else is there, we're like on our best behavior, But like if we're just by ourselves, like we'll just like get really mad at each other. So that we usually try not to do that because we're
so we don't write together alone. The only song we ever wrote together alone that was like that was finished.
And a positive experience.
And a positive experience was our Christmas song, Winter Love.
So we call it the miracle of Christmas.
Yeah.
Because, like, we've never been able to do that. 'Cause we
It's just this one song.
just I think maybe because like it was just so like silly. We were just like, oh, this is funny, and then we had fun doing it. But if we're both trying to get like our unique perspectives into a song, and we're working on it just together, then we'll like get really annoyed at each other.
Someone's asking, are you twins? Just confirm, is it fraternal? Like, what's
We're identical. Right now, we don't look like totally identical right now because I just got my hair dyed and she has to book an appointment still.
I do. Yeah.
So I feel like right now I'm looking like a little bit different than her.
Yeah. And these roots were made for walking right now, so we'll have to fix that up.
Like,
I love, look, it was like one of your TikToks that's like, that's pinned at the top of your videos. And we talk about like when you're like 2 or 3, you had like the coconut head, like hair. Oh, so cute.
thanks. Oh, we really look like twins in that picture.
Oh, in that era of life,
yeah.
being a couple of twin coconut heads, you know, it was fun.
Touring Europe. Someone wants to know if you're going to tour Europe.
At some point, we would love to tour Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of...
That would be like next. So like we want to do Canada and then hopefully some dates in the States and then Europe would probably come after that. But we like our dad's Irish, so we have the European passport. So it's a feasible thing.
Very feasible.
Yeah, and I really love Europe, so it'll happen. But it's just hard. It's easier to plan in Canada first and then kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Have you guys been kind of making the rounds at any radio stations in like Vancouver or elsewhere?
That's part of the plan for the fall when we do this tour is like we're going to be going in and visiting radio stations that have been playing Take Me Out, which is really cool. So excited for that. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no, I know it's tough, especially for, newer artists or trying to break through. You guys have been around for a bit, but, you're still trying to maybe break out there. And I know it's not easy. There's so many talented artists out there. So all I can say is like, I wish you guys the best of luck. Hopefully I'll get to see you guys perform at some point. And yeah, thank you guys for doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. Totally. It's been really fun chatting with you.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. And I'll thank Natasha. She helped set this up, and I'll post a few clips of this in the next few days just to kind of get more, people views out there. And yeah, I look forward to more music soon.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll hope to meet you in person someday.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good day, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.